Bro, is his stick dick shaped? Hey guys, I watched Sausage Party Foodtopia, so you don't have to. So, today we're talking about Sausage Party Foodtopia because I watched it this morning and I actually kind of liked it. But we'll get into that more later on. The basic plot of Sausage Party Foodtopia goes as followed. We follow after the crew from the original movie. Frank, I think is the tall hot dog's name, Brenda, and then deformed hot dog. I don't remember his name, I'm sorry. He was just so forgettable. And then there's the bagel guy. And the show opens up with them just killing humans. Because if you haven't seen the original Sausage Party, the movie did end with them starting a revolution against the entire race before promptly going into a giant food orgy. I don't know if I can say it on YouTube. Food orgy. So, YouTube, please don't censor my video and take it down. It's not real. Food orgy is not a real thing, okay? It's not a real, it's a food one with a bunch of food. It's okay. So they kind of are like killing the entire human race for eating them because they don't want to be devoured anymore, which is completely fair and reasonable. So after killing every single human really quickly, we then cut to them trying to build a new society outside of the supermarket. And their first idea is to just live outside and just explore and do whatever they want. But they soon realize that they're not prepared for the harsh environments like rain, and half of the cast gets murdered. A lot of people die because they just weren't prepared for the flooding, and honestly, some of the deaths were pretty creative. I was actually pretty intrigued by some of the ways these foods got brutally murdered by this flood and water. It was actually pretty interesting. I feel like that was pretty cool. It also showed off that the animation isn't nearly as shitty as I thought it would be going in. Like, when you already have your standards set pretty low from the Mega Mind TV show, then you see this, it's really not that awful. Then eventually they realize that they need to find a human so they can understand why it was raining. So they go to a campsite and they find 3 humans that have just been kind of living. I guess they just didn't die in the extermination attempt. And Barry, that was the name of the small hot dog. His name's Barry. He goes into a man's asshole and starts controlling him. This video's getting fucked. I'm already knowing he's gonna get fucked. But he goes into the man's no-no hole and controls him and takes over his body and forces him to kill his friend, which was honestly really fucked up. I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty dark. And then after making this guy murder his friends, they take him as like a pseudo hostage where they use him to understand why it rains. And their basic understanding of rain is that if it's blue outside, it's okay. And if it's gray outside, it's bad. But I don't think that that really equates for any other natural disasters that they might face, like earthquakes, hail, or any other bad thing that could happen, just because he didn't really explain any of that shit, like tornadoes or fucking hail or snow or whatever the fuck. So they don't know anything about that. So maybe one day Foodtopia will get destroyed by a giant massive tornado that they just could not prepare for. And then after they get this information, Barry wants to just brutally murder him because fuck all humans, am I right? They wanted to eat us. So they decide to burn him at a stake for a giant event. And then they start making a bunch of food puns. We're not going to get into that because I didn't find that funny. I don't care about food puns. That's not fucking funny. That's boring. That's lazy. Then after all of the unfunny food puns, they decide to not kill the human. Well, Frank and Brenda, the hot dog and the bun, decide they should keep him alive just in case they need more information. So they decide to take them back to their house and chain him up. And they also force him to commit cannibalism, which is pretty fucked up. He's already had to murder his friend. Now you're forcing him to eat his own kind, which is really dark and depressing. I just honestly felt bad for him the entire show. But then Frank becomes really reliant on the humans' opinions to make his own decisions in his life. There's a part where they start doing politics with food because I guess they thought it'd be funny. So they need his advice, and he just gives them advice that he used in the real world, I guess, or real world human advice to help these food people decide on how to run their government, which is really, just, I don't even know what to say about that. There's so much more we can talk about there, but we're not. because the show didn't really care too much to talk about the politics themselves. They just kind of say taxes and all sorts of other stuff that applies, I guess. So, they don't really take a really interesting approach where they decide to, I don't know, have some wealthily written deep commentary about society. No, they just go for the lazy approach and say, tax is good, rich people bad, haha. And that's what it devolves into from a basic understanding. If you're learning or taking political advice from Sausage Party, I just want to make it very clear that you need to go seek some help, because I can't help you at that point. If you're listening to Sausage Party about what you think or what you should vote for or what you should stand for, you're not the smartest individual. So just, you gotta figure something out. But the show continues. The main villain is revealed to be this orange with a big fucking asshole. He has like a giant ass, so that's gonna be important later, trust me. So the orange is like evil because he's rich, and since he's rich, he must be evil. I guess that's what the show wants to go for. Evil people, rich people, one and the same. So evil orange guy gets mad because Frank and Bunda or Blinda or whatever the fuck decide to propose an idea for taxes where they take a substantial portion of the rich people's money and give it back to the poor. And he just doesn't mess with that because he's rich, and why should you have to give up his money? You guys can see the very insightful commentary that the Sausage Party crew is trying to deliver to us. And once he gets mad, he decides, why should you guys be in charge? I should be in charge. And they have a giant election, which once again Frank uses the human guy to get advice from. And then this also devolves into a Fast and the Furious reference. We're not even going to talk about that because I don't know what else to say. They do a Fast and Furious, so that's kind of cool. And then eventually it leads to Frank the hot dog fucking the human, and they have sex, and there is animated bust. So, I kind of almost threw up my mouth when I first saw that scene. I love gross out humor, but I feel like there's levels to this. There's definitely levels to gross out humor, and seeing CGI hot dog getting busted on was not on my list of things to do this week. So that kind of was upsetting. And then after that, Bunda, Blenda, Brenda, whatever the fuck, walks in and finds out that Frank is having sex with a human, and she's rightfully upset because imagine walking in and seeing your hot dog husband having sex with your oppressor human. I don't know, man. It's really weird. And then she decides to sabotage the debate by not wanting to run with him anymore and trying to run on her own platform of just getting rid of the currency in the world. I didn't even explain the currency. The currency in this world for the food is teeth. And she wants to get rid of all teeth because teeth are the root of all evil. And they cause all the bad things that have happened. Not the fact that, I don't know, they let the teeth problem get out of hand before really doing anything to enforce it and just letting people do whatever they wanted. I mean, I feel like they could have done more to prevent this from happening in the first place. It's mostly on them, to be honest. And then after losing the debate, the orange guy wins the election and decides to just prevent the media from showing the slums that are created in the food economy because he's rich and he wants everybody to think that everybody in the Sausage Party Foodtopia is living a good life, even though they're not, because he literally controls everything. He's running an actual monopoly. He controls every single business, housing complex, and everything inside of the Sausage Party Foodtopia. And it's just really depressing because, man, there's people struggling. They even do a documentary spoof where we see this family of eggs who's working at a factory, and then they come home and the mom dies and then the whole family dies because they can't afford anything. It's really sad, honestly. And see, that's the shit that makes me sad, because it's I feel like they could have done so much more with the political aspect and made it an actual funny parody, but they just kind of throw the political stuff in just to be ha, politics. But it's really not as funny as it should be. They could have done a lot more with this. It's really disappointing. But then the orange guy does some more evil stuff because orange guy evil. And then we get the plot twist that the orange guy is actually being controlled by a grain of rice through his butthole. Oh my god, who would have saw that coming? If you guys watched the first episode, you would have realized that because the rice girl gets fucked over by the orange guy. So she decides to control him and take over the world because evil. And then this results in a fight between Brenda and Orange Guy in the apartment because she's upset that Orange Guy is evil. And they fight and Brenda dies. Yep, a classic character from the film gets murdered in the season finale of the show. It's actually kind of crazy. I was not expecting her to die, but she did. And she has, she dies in Frank's arms. It's really depressing. And then Frank gets arrested because they think he murdered Brenda, even though that's his wife. And why would he kill his wife for no reason? Like, it's just kind of stupid. And then the orange guy like tries to get Frank executed because he doesn't want anybody to know that he was actually the one that killed Brenda. And Frank just kind of gives up because Brenda's dead, so he has no reason to live until it's almost time for him to die, and he realizes he doesn't want to die, so he tries to actually live. And then they're able to expose the orange guy as the true bad guy. They get the piece of rice out of his ass, and she tries to like plead for her life, and they don't kill her because I guess mindset change and death is bad. But then she dies anyways, so it was all pointless. And then after she dies, they all decide that like, we need a new leader. And Frank decides that he should be the new leader and he wants to get rid of the currency, but nobody wants to hear that shit, man. So they all decide to just start doing the same old stuff again, like with the teeth currency. So then Frank does the only logical thing and goes and gets the human and puts him in pads so that he can't be affected and decides to just become a dictator. And that's how season 1 of Sausage Party Foodtopia ends. Frank becomes a dictator and rules over the food with an iron thumb. Now, I want to tell you guys that like I didn't hate this show. I really felt like I would because of just like how bad these fucking series spin-offs of these classic franchises, I say classic in quotation, are. But this was surprisingly alright for what it was. Compared to like the Megamind TV show or some of the other stuff that we've gotten in the past, it wasn't the worst watch. And the fact that it's on Amazon Prime and you can pretty much just watch it with ads, it's a pretty accessible show. Now, would I recommend it? Maybe not to everybody. It's not for everybody. I feel like it's for people with potty humor and that find shit jokes funny. So if you find shit, food orgies, and all this other stuff hilarious, you should definitely check it out. And if you don't, you probably shouldn't because it's probably not for you. Now, see, me as somebody that finds shit and bust funny, I kind of got a few chuckles from the show. So, if you find that funny, you might like it. Now, what do I give this show out of 10? Honestly, I think I gotta give this show a solid 7 out of 10. It's something to just turn your brain off and watch. If you turn your brain off and watch it, it's not the worst thing ever. But if you're actively trying to critique it and find out what's wrong with it, it drops down to like a 5. But if you just kind of like watch it with your brain off and just laugh at funny shit joke or bust or food orgy, you'll get a good time out of it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it's been a while since I posted. I'm not going to keep making excuses talking about how I'm going to be more consistent. I really want to try to be more consistent, but it's just really hard for me to stay motivated. I don't know. Some of my videos just do really badly, and it just sucks the fun out of it for me. Because it's like I enjoy making the videos, but I really hate seeing the videos just completely flop off the face of the planet. And sometimes I just don't feel creative enough to continue making videos. But, I'm going to keep pushing and I'm going to keep trying. Even if that means one video a month or one video a week or one video every 2 weeks, I'm going to continue to try and keep pushing content out. Because I really do love you guys. And the guys that are subscribed and comment and constantly come back, I really, truly do fuck with you guys, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Maybe that won't be in 9 months. Peace out.